8 months ago, I bought a bike, saved money, paid for it, paid the road tax, paid the insurance, I paid GST in total. Government took nearly 60k from me in taxes alone in one purchase alone. In India, we do not just buy vehicles. We do puja when we bring new bike or a car to our home. We put flowers on it, we touch its feet. A bike in an Indian family is not just a metal and rubber. It is a family member, and I genuinely mean it. And now the government is choking the family member to death with a fuel it was never designed for. Without asking me, without compensating me, without even telling me clearly that what they are doing. E20 has been mandatory since April 2025. My mileage has dropped. My fuel cost went up. The government said it is propaganda and stopped complaining. And now, April 2026, they have released draft for E85, which is 85% of ethanol, and E100, which is pure ethanol fuel. I am going to tell you what E85 exactly will do. I am going to tell you the pattern what the minister has been doing for years, and I am going to tell you why people are supposed to be on your side or not. Because someone needs to say this clearly. Before E85, what E20 already did to you. Let me first close E20 chapter properly, because most of the people still do not fully understand what happened in April 2025. E20 became mandatory across India. 20% of ethanol in every liter of petrol. No choice, no warning. At the pump, no price reduction. A survey of 36,000 people who own vehicles across 323 districts in October 2025 found that 8 out of 10 people who owned vehicle bought before 2023 saw their mileage drop. 2 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and 52% reported unusual wear and tear in their engine and fuel system. Mechanics across India city reported 40% of rise in fuel-related jobs after April 2025. Here's what happened. Ethanol has 34% less energy than petrol per liter. When you put 20% ethanol into petrol, every liter in your tank produces less power than before, which makes your engine burn slightly more, do the same distance. Your mileage goes down. You go to fuel pump more often. You spend more money, and petrol price did not stop even a single rupee.
आप 120 रुपए जो पेट्रोल ले रहे हैं उसका भाव हम 15 रुपए लीटर करेंगे। जितना एवरेज आपको 120 रुपए के पेट्रोल में मिल रहा है उतना एवरेज आपको 15 रुपए पेट्रोल की कीमत जो है 15 रुपए उतना लीटर का इथेनॉल का एवरेज मिलेगा और 40% बिजली तैयार होगी।
In 2014, petrol was 71 rupees per liter. In 2025, it rose up to 94 to 95. Not cheaper, more expensive with less energy inside every liter. Beyond mileage, ethanol is corrosive. It slowly eats rubber seals, fuel pipes, and gaskets in the engine, which are not designed for it. It absorbs moisture from air inside your tank. The bike or car sits idle for few weeks, and the moisture separates from the fuel, settles down in the bottom, which directly goes into your engine, and ethanol also acts as an solvent. It strips old deposit in your tank and pushes them into your injector and fuel filters by clogging them. Hero Motocorp and TVS officially said their vehicles made before 2023 need modifications costing 4,000 to 6,000 rupees to handle E20 properly. So you paid for it, you paid taxes, you are now paying more for petrol with less energy, and your energy is wearing faster, and you need to spend 4,000 to 6,000 rupees more just to protect it from the fuel government is forcing on you. Who is paying for all this? You, a regular Indian who saved up and bought a bike or a car with their own hard-earned money. The minister's response for this all was, it is propaganda by the petrol lobby. Now they want E85. What this actually means. In April 2026, the Ministry of Road Transport issued a draft to bring E85 and E100 into India's fuel framework. E85 is 85% ethanol and 15% petrol. E100 is pure ethanol with almost no petrol at all. Government says do not panic, it will be at separate pump. What E85 does for a vehicle which is not built for it? Ethanol at 85% is not slightly corrosive, it is aggressively corrosive. Standard rubber seals, fuel hoses, fuel pumps, carburetors, none of this survive in E85 long. The engine cylinder starts rusting and starts becoming very difficult because ethanol does not vaporize easily in cold conditions. The ECU, the engine control unit, the computer that manages your engine is calibrated for petrol. At 85% ethanol, the calibration completely fails. The engine does not know what fuel it is running on anymore. Your warranty is voided instantly. And the mileage, ethanol has 35% lower energy than petrol. At E20, you lose 6 to 7% of mileage. At E85, you will lose around 25 to 30%. Think about it. If you currently get 50 km per liter on your bike on E85, the same bike on flex fuel engine would give you around 35 km per liter. On a non-compatible engine, it would simply start working. Currently, only the two-wheeler which is compatible with E85 is Honda CB300F Flex Tech. When the government says E85 is coming, they're announcing the future that currently has no vehicles to use it. If E85 stays at a separate pump, does not it directly affect your E20 bike today? Here's the real problem. The government has a pattern. E10 was supposed to be enough. Then E20 was pushed for 5 years ahead of schedule. Now E85 and E100 are being drafted even before E20 had a full year to settle. What makes you confident that E20 will remain available at your pump for next 5 years? What makes you sure that the goalpost will not move again? If you bought a bike with E20 8 months ago, which was told future proof, and the government is already planning on E85, E100, when exactly is your bike supposed to be? I want to talk about something nobody is putting together in one place. Nitin Gadkari, the same minister behind all this, spent years telling India that hydrogen is the fuel of future. He pushed hydrogen fuel cell vehicles very hard. He said petrol and diesel had no future, and he pointed at hydrogen pilot projects on 10 highway routes. He got Tata, Volvo, Ashok Leyland to test hydrogen buses and trucks. He declared hydrogen is the India's new answer, and then he shifted his energy to electric vehicles. EV is the future. He pushed EV hard. He started talking about EV infrastructure, EV subsidies, EV adoptions, EV targets, and then ethanol became his main focus. Ahead of schedule, he called the critics agents of the petrol lobby. He defended E20 so aggressively that he would not even acknowledge real mechanical problems.
Ethanol blending. You are extremely bullish on ethanol blending. In fact, I just read that आपने E10 target को deadline से पहले complete कर दिया है, and now we are looking at E20. So if you look at the petrol consumption of India, considering the amount of ethanol we would require, the estimate comes to about 10.16 billion liters. And ethanol production happens from corn, wheat, rice and sugarcane. And out of these 4 crops, 3 crops are water guzzling crops. So अभी बैंगलोर में वाटर क्राइसिस चल रहा है. बीएमसी ने बस एक नोटिफिकेशन दिया, they're going to cut the water supply.
ये जो आर्गुमेंट करने वाले लोग हैं ना,
हाँ,
ये सबसे देश में एंटी नेशनल. देश में पानी की कोई कमी नहीं है. मैं वाटर
अच्छा.
A new fuel revolution every year. Existing vehicle owners are left behind. Every year the infrastructure for the previous revolution is still not ready yet. And do you know what is in Gadkari's state, Maharashtra? Sugarcane fields. Do you know what ethanol primarily is made in India? Sugarcane. Do you know who benefits if the government mandates higher and higher ethanol blending? Sugarcane farmers and the companies that produce sugarcane into ethanol. I already told you earlier in the video. Nitin Gadkari's son Nikhil owns Kane Agro Industries and he's a key ethanol supplier whose revenue jumped from 18 crore to 523 crore. I am not saying goal of reducing fossil fuel imports is wrong. India spends 22 lakh crore on importing fossil fuels.
यहाँ कार्यक्रम में मत करो, चल बाहर जाओ। तुम्हें बाद में बात करेंगे नहीं तो पुलिस बुला के बाहर निकाल दूंगा। अबे शांत बैठो। तुमको बाहर नहीं काम तुम्हारा बाद में मैंने बोला ना बात करूंगा करके। तुम बनते यहाँ कार्यक्रम में मत करो, चल बाहर जाओ, बाहर।
My EV story and why it does not fix this issue. I want to tell you something personal here. I have an electric scooter, Ola S1 Pro. I bought it 3 years ago. People would say, okay, so you have an alternative. So why are you even complaining about petrol? Here's my reality with an electric scooter. When I bought it, I used to get 120 to 130 kilometer on a full battery. That was the claim and that was what I was sold on. 3 years later, that 120 kilometers has become 40 kilometers. That is what I actually get right now, and battery degradation is the real reason for it. It is normal, it happens with every battery vehicle over the time. Nobody tells you this clearly. When they sell you the scooter, they show you 140 kilometers and you think that is what you'll always get out of your vehicle. You found out the truth over 3 years of riding. When I ride more than 100 kilometers in one go, the motor overheats and it stops and I'm standing on side of the road it to cool down. So the government says buy electric. Electric is the future. I bought electric. The reality is 40 kilometers range and the scooter that overheats on long rides. That is the actual experience of electric mobility in India today. For real people who are not riding in air-conditioned vehicle, so I have my petrol bike for anything beyond the neighborhood. And that petrol bike I bought 8 months ago is being slowly harmed by E20 and now E85 is on the horizon. I paid 65,000 in taxes when I bought the bike. I bought an electric scooter as an backup and I am being failed in both. The real picture is what India's fuel revolution looks like. From the ground, from the bus world conference stage, from someone who actually rides these vehicles. I want to be fair here because I think fairness matters. The government's core argument is not crazy. India imports 80% of its oil and we spend 22 lakh crore on fossil fuels imports every year. Every rupee of that goes into countries Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and when wars happen in West Asia, our fuel prices will tend to go up and someone else decided to fight. That dependence is genuinely dangerous for a country of 1.4 billion people. Ethanol is made here from sugarcane and maize grown by Indian farmers. Every liter of ethanol that replaces petrol is money that stays inside India instead of going abroad. That is the real benefit. And the environmental argument. Ethanol burns cleaner than petrol, lower carbon emissions, and better. You do not rush E20 for 5 years ahead of the schedule without making sure the vehicles on the road can handle it. You do not immediately announce E85 while E20 problems are still being reported by 8 out of 10 owners. You do not refuse to release the independent test of data. And when people are asking these questions, you dismiss them as propaganda while your family's ethanol business grows by 2000%. You do not tell people there is no future for petrol vehicles when they just spent 60 to 70,000 in taxes to buy a petrol vehicle 8 months ago. First, the choice at the pump. If you have an E10 bike, you should be able to get E10. If you have an E20 at separate pumps, you should be able to choose it. Brazil does this. US does this. In India went straight to mandatory. Second, lower the price. Ethanol has less energy. The fuel should be cheaper. In Brazil, E27 blended fuel is 25 to 30% cheaper than pure petrol because the mileage drop is compensated by the price. In India, same price, no compensation. Third, clear communication. People should know what is in their petrol before they fill it, not from a YouTuber or a YouTube video like mine or from social media. After the fact, fourth, fixing existing vehicles before moving to the next target. Before announcing E85, the government should have funded programs to upgrade E10 vehicles to E20 compatibility at no cost to the owner. You change the fuel standard now and you are responsible for the cost of the transition. Fifth, independent testing published publicly, not by government bodies. Testing government policy in independent labs, publish results accessible to anyone, and none of this happened. Instead we got announcement, dismissals, and the target before the current one is even settled. What can you do right now? Check if your vehicle is E20 compatible and look near your fuel cap or check your owner's manual. If the word is ethanol 20 or E20, if it's not marked, call your dealer with your VIN number and get a clarity. If your vehicle is pre-2023 and it is not compatible, spend another 4 to 10,000 rupees for next service to upgrade fuel lines, seals and filter. It is worth it before you have a 40,000 rupees repair bill. If you have a high performance expensive vehicle, ask about E85 fuel. It is 100% petrol, no ethanol and cost around 160 rupees per liter. It is expensive, but it is the only option right now. Document your mileage, write down what you were getting before April 25 and April 2025 and what you are getting right now. If you ever need to make an insurance or warranty claims, record matters. And for E85 right now, the draft is proposed. Public comments are open for days. Go to Ministry of Road Transport websites, leave a comment. It is your legal right and it probably will not change anything, but the silence definitely will not do anything. Let me end this by saying directly, I don't want India to be dependent on oil for other countries, but I don't want us to be vulnerable. Every time someone starts a war in Middle East, I want energy in independence. I genuinely want all those things. But I also bought a bike 8 months ago. I did puja when I bought it home. I saved money for it. I paid taxes, nearly 60,000, for the same government which is now telling me petrol vehicles have no future. My electric scooter gives me 40 kilometers now instead of 140. My petrol bike is getting damaged by mandatory fuel change. And the minister who pushed this, all of a sudden, his family's ethanol business grew 2,184% in the same year E20 became mandatory. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for basic fairness. Give me the choice at the pump, reduce the price to match the reduced energy, fix my existing vehicle before changing the fuel. Do not announce the new revolution before the last one is still breaking vehicles. The vision is right. The execution still needs to be done in a right way. Both things can be done in the same time. And right now, the execution is wrong and a regular Indian like me and you are paying in mileage and repairs for it. 60,000 rupees in taxes, a vehicle that is being made absolute before they even complete their first year on road. Share this with every bike owner, every car owner you know, because this is affecting all of us. See you in the next one. This is Akash signing off. Take care.